Welcome. So in this video I am going to talk about why wealth planners hate buy, borrow, die framework, or at least my version of it. And as someone who was in the financial industry for 10 plus years, what I've begun to realise is the financial industry is monetized confusion. You are paying for your own insecurity. And with the wealth planner stage, you're likely in the demographic of someone who is too rich for retail, but too poor for a family office. This is exactly the demographic that wealth planners target. So if you're in that sector, this video is for you. I'm passionate about this topic, so let's get into it. So, what exactly have wealth planners convinced people? They have convinced you that the asset under management fee of 1% is cheap. See, 1% asset under management, it sounds like a tip, but the actual math is brutal. In fact, the truth is, it is a wealth tax and it is up to 30% of your lifetime wealth. 30%. So instead of paying the IRS tax, which you're still going to need to pay them tax anyway, you're now paying tax to your wealth planner. So 1% sounds like nothing, but the actual math compounds over your lifetime. And keep in mind, that is whether the market's doing good or bad that year. They still get paid. So do they actually care about the performance of your portfolio? Because think about it, your portfolio does 10% that year, they get a cut. They get a cut of that. Your portfolio does 20%, they're rubbing their hands because they just get even more money. Or your portfolio is flat, they still get paid. They still get paid. And you're paying them because you think there's a knowledge gap. They have some secret information that you're not privy to. And that is what this channel is about. That is what I'm going to break down. So, yes, the math is this brutal. It's 30% of your lifetime wealth. I've proven in another video when I was even conservative. And this is the fact. So it's complexity theatre. So what does a wealth planner really want to convince you? They want to convince you that picking stocks is extremely difficult. In fact, the whole financial space wanted to program you to believe, how dare you try and pick stocks? You're not Warren Buffett. It's like institutional heresy. If someone says, actually, I think I want to invest in Apple, Google, Microsoft. Okay, so it's like, don't you dare do that. You can't do that. You must buy an ETF. You must invest in the S&P 500 like everyone else. And don't you dare deviate. So the truth is, right, the truth is, stock picking is not difficult. Choosing a company is not difficult. If I said to you, can you pick a company that is a monopoly, that has an unbreakable moat, pick the best company, you have the choice of any company in the world. In America, you can choose the best companies in the world. Of course you can choose it. What is difficult is paying the right price for it. So the entry valuation is what matters. And then on top of that is behavioural discipline. They're the actual two challenges that people have, that investors have. So behavioural discipline is basically not selling the stock when it crashes 20%. Not panicking and selling it. And entry valuation, paying the right price. So how do we pay the right price? Well, it requires a lot of dealing with that fear of missing out, because you're watching a company rally 80% in a year and you want to buy the stock. Basically having the discipline to say, I'm not going to pay this price for it, I'm going to pay a fair valuation. Warren Buffett waited 40 years before he purchased Apple, invested in Apple. So he was watching the iPhone get released, the MacBook get released, didn't move on it until it was a fair valuation. Turned out to be one of his best investment ever. But it wasn't like Apple was a secret unknown company. it was a well-known, well-established company at the time. So it's not like you have to choose companies that are unknown and they're like hidden gems or a diamond in the rough. It's showing that even companies that are already winning, the winners are often already picked. But anyway, that's maybe for another video. See, what a wealth planner will do is complicate the products, extremely complicated. If you don't even understand the product, you can't fire the advisor because you don't even know what you're invested in. And what I find is complexity is fragile. The more complicated it is, the more fragile it is, the more likely it is to underperform. So do not be fooled by complexity. So what often happens is it's like these funds that are getting pushed on clients are like super well diversified because, oh, you've got to be diversified. You cannot be concentrated because concentration is risk. Let's look at how the wealthy actually invest versus how they are sold to. Because how they're sold to and how the wealthy actually perform are completely two different things entirely. Let's look at Bill Gates, his foundation, the public foundation. He has an 82% concentration in 5 companies: Berkshire Hathaway, Waste Management, Canadian Railway, Microsoft, Caterpillar. 5 companies, 82% concentration. So a wealth planner would say, this is risky. This is too concentrated. But Bill Gates clearly knows something that these wealth planners don't know. And that is that volatility is not risk. So if Microsoft drops 20%, the stock price, not its earnings, two different things entirely. Microsoft drops 20%, because some bad news came out, or some tariffs, or a pandemic, or something happened, stock price gets sold. Bill Gates doesn't react at all. Portfolio is concentrated, understands that the company still makes money, therefore the stock price will correct itself. Absolutely, full conviction, no fear whatsoever. Versus the wealth planner with the 25 funds, 25 ETFs, okay, protects the wealth planner. The wealth planner is protected. Because if the whole market goes down and the wealth planner says, well, I was just doing what I was taught to do, which is diversification. So if the whole market crashes, it's not my fault. So you can't, this wealth planner keeps his job. All the wealth planners keep their job because they all recommend this diversified fund. So, doesn't care if it underperforms because they still get the 1% AUM fee. It's like, oh, you phone up the wealth planner and say, my performance of this fund isn't that great right now. Well, the whole market's like that just now, so, okay. Oh, by the way, I still get the 1% tax of your wealth. So, do you know what they'll justify the AUM fee with? They'll justify it by saying, I'll call you to say, do not panic during a crash. So it's an expensive therapy session. So they phone you and say, don't panic. Great, gee, thanks. Okay, what else will they say? Okay, well, they'll say, security-backed line of credit. Okay, so now it's like, okay, this feels like it's a moat. This feels like, okay, we're getting access to special loans and special low percentage margin loans or Lombard loans or whatever it may be. What you're going to find out by the end of the video, liquidity is a commodity. Wealth planners, private banks, they cannot offer you a cheaper rate than an institutional broker. Their business model fundamentally can't afford to. Because an institutional broker is a piece of software. Their business has no operating expenses. So they can just undercut every other lender because they don't have wealth planners to pay, financial planners to pay, fancy marble floors to pay for. They don't have high overheads to pay for. So the wealth planner might make it out as if, you know, we've really negotiated hard and got you a really good rate. But the rate's a commodity. Every lender, every bank, every institution is all against the Federal Reserve floor rate. The Federal Reserve sets the floor rate and a bank adds a spread to it and lends it out to its clients. Institutional broker offers even cheaper rates than the wealth planner can get access to, and you're in full control. You just click a button, withdraw. There you go. You've got your security-backed line of credit. You're in full control of it. You're paying 0% AUM fees. You don't need to pay for the insecurity. You don't need to pay for. You don't need to rent someone else's competence. You can just subscribe to this channel, and you now know everything for yourself. See, as well with the buy, borrow, die framework, we're not selling stocks, so we don't need to rebalance. Because often a wealth planner might want to rebalance the portfolio, which could trigger capital gains tax. But it's like, well, do we really need to rebalance? Is it absolutely necessary? Okay, so don't pay for your insecurity. It's not that complicated. It doesn't need to be that complicated. And if it is complicated, it usually means it can be fragile. Do not get me started on private equity, because that's going to be the next argument they bring. Yeah, but we have access to private credit, we have access to private equity, pre-IPOs. No, they don't. No, they don't. Private equity, unless it's some of the best, strongest firms in the world, rarely even beat the index. I have the same opinion as Warren Buffett on private equity. So, there you go. If you're looking at wealth planners, you're looking at buy, borrow, die, too rich for retail, too poor for a family office. And you'll find that, in actual fact, do you even need this? This is what I'm saying. Do you even need this? Because it is expensive. So anyway, more videos coming. If you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be making more.